You want to come up with me? You want to come up with me? Peter, what a nice dog. Come here, Peter. A good boy, Peter. This is what I do when I meet a dog in a store. I go say hello to the dog. I didn't even look at the people. I'm really rude. I just, and the dogs. And then I tell the people, there's dogs sniffing. I go, smorgasbord. Okay. Okay, come on. You can come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. There you go. Okay. There you go, my boy. He's a good boy. This is Peter. Peter as in Peter, Piper, and Peck. One of the brothers, Peter, who loves his treats. Look at this boy. Okay, I can put the treats down. You're a good boy. Oh, yes, you are. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Yes, you are. Peter's a border dog. He's been here a couple of years. Back then at the border, before they're giving him tickets, it's changed now. Trump is in, so they're clamping down. We got to save our border. But what was happening near the end was my friends in ICE especially were really depressed because all they were supposed to do is put the people on a bus on this side. And from here, they went to different cities in the United States. And just before that, a couple years before that, they were coming across the border, pretending to be families, some of them. And they were grabbing dogs from Mexico, street dogs. And they come across the border pretending to be a family. And then once they get to this side, they all split up because they were not family. Now the water is very important here. He's drinking water. I wrote a letter about him a couple years ago. Water is the best thing in the world to this guy. He can't believe he has fresh water. I'm going to say something I've said before. And when I did the video on Penelope, I hit it pretty hard because I want to get RFK to look at this. It's called the New River, Rio Nuevo, New River. 16 miles, 1/6, in Mexicali, and they dump everything in the world into that, toxins of all kinds, human waste, uranium, just everything. And then it comes into Calexico on our side of the border. That's where these dogs are dumped. Oh, he jumped right up. Here I was moving for him, and he jumped right up. Anyway, the dogs on that side of the border have the New River, which is poison. And for 60 miles, 60 miles, it goes into the Salton Sea. Along the banks of the New River, on this side of the wall anyway, on the banks of the New River, there's cancer for decades. It needs Aaron Brockovich to come in and study it because it's cancer all the way. So our dogs here, Peter was a puppy a couple years ago, and he and his brothers were dumped at the border near the New River. And the only water they have is contaminated. They can't drink from the river, it'll kill them, they'll die. Plus it's on fire a lot of the time. Literally flames. And it's not that big. It's deep, but it's not that wide. But it contaminates the ground. It's been contaminating the ground for 50, 60 years. So if they get groundwater a quarter of a mile away, they're getting toxins from the New River that's in the ground. We've lost a good 20% of our dogs who've come in from Border Patrol or ICE from the area where the New River is. And we've lost them to cancer. We've lost a couple to kidneys, but cancer. And where are they getting it? From drinking the poison water down there in the ground. So when I brought this guy up and some others, they they love water because they never get any clean water. We have a well here. We're at the headwater to the Santa Clara River. It's a 106-mile long river. Last wild river, Southern California. And it's the headwater. So we got a lot of water. We built a pond, and Forest Service uses it for fires even. But we have fresh water from the ground up in this guy wouldn't stop drinking, put his whole face in it when he was first here. This Peter. Peter's a good boy. Look at the beautiful eyes on him. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Oh, yes, you are. You're a good boy. What a nice boy. What a nice boy. Yes, you are. King of the hill. King of the hill. So he loves his water, and I was hoping he drank some water for you so you can see it. That's what he did. The first few weeks he was here, you'd always find him at the water bucket. Wow, it's such a treat. Imagine if you're dying of thirst and you get water. My father's best friend, Duke, back when we were kids, my father had Duke come over, Friday night fights. We watched the fights. My mother's birthday today. My mother passed away about, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago. Today's her birthday. Anyway, she would make pizza, pan pizza, flip them on the table for us, my brother and I and Duke and my father. And my father, you know, he used to let us have beer. We were just kids, 9, 10 years old. He let us have beer on Friday nights with the pizza, have a little glass of beer. And Duke never had beer. He always had water. And, you know, now you'd say, well, he's an alcoholic and they make him drink water when they're alcoholics. No, that wasn't it. I asked him once, I said, Duke, how come you never have a beer? Duke said when he was in the Army, World War II, when he was in the Army, he was in one special division where they put him out for a week with a knife and they throw him out in the woods and say, survive. I mean, they taught him how to do it, but they sent him out. First thing they do is look for water. And it's hard to find. And he said, when you find water, it's the most precious thing on earth is water. So since his days of the Army, he just drinks water. He loves water. So I think of Duke every now and then out in the desert because I carry water everywhere. And I drink my water. And I think of Duke. And it is the most precious commodity is water. And so to see this guy come up from the desert, put his face in the water bucket and do nothing but drink water, I think of Duke. Yes, you're a good boy. You are such a good boy. I'm going to give you a piece of a treat. I'm going to give you a little one because you eat too fast. See, I give you a little one. And another little one. And another little one. Look at that face. Look at that face. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Yeah, so he's probably what? He's 2.5 years old, maybe. So how do you like it here? That's the answer. Yes, you got all your brothers are here. The reason he's not in with his brothers is. The reason he's not in with his brothers is, look at him. The thing about pit bulls, they want to be one-man dogs, and like any other breed, when you have a litter of puppies, you have to separate them eventually into pairs or whatever, sometime alone. Look at him smile. He's smiling. Look at that smile. You see the smile, ear-to-ear smile? Look at that. Look at that. You have to separate them because they fight. So we had these puppies, the 3 boys, and you see them getting into little tussles, and then one of them gets a little angry one day, and they have a real nice fight. And the only difference between these pit bulls and every other dog, and you got to remember this is a 44 Magnum. So if they get into it, they're going to do some damage because of their jaws. They were bred for this, but their jaws are very powerful. So if you got 2 Chihuahuas fighting, you know, not much is going to happen. But you get 2 pit bulls. Yeah, look at that boy. What a beautiful dog. My God, he's showroom or show. What do they call it? Show dog. Yeah, I was gonna say showroom. It's like a car. Look at him, and he's happy. They're so happy. They have their yard. It's theirs. It's their protected yard. It's all theirs. They get taken care of. Nobody's gonna come in here and take their home away. Yep. And they go in for hospital checkups. If something's wrong, look at he's gonna drink more water. He loves his water. Now it's a cold day. It's gonna rain in a few hours. So it's not blistering hot and he's not dehydrated. He just loves his water. Clean water. That a boy. Good boy, Peter. Look at that doggy. Peter, as he stands there, he's like a wonder dog. Peter. So we did good. We did good. We did good. You come up here? Come up here. Here, come here. There you go. We did good. ICE did good. Border Patrol did good. I mean, you have some people in the even the military. They see what's happening at the border with the dogs, and dogs get left behind in 125-degree heat and whatever. And especially nice ones come up to them and you know, they give them some water, and they maybe share part of their lunch with them. And the dog is waiting the next day when they come back on the shift. The dog's waiting. So eventually, I mean, they fall in love with the dog, and then they try to find a home for the dog. They call their friends, they call their relatives. Hey, I'm off on Saturday, I could bring you this beautiful dog. Well, eventually they don't have any more friends or relatives to pick up the phone. So in the very limited way, we do our part, and we help them by letting them come up here. And they know they're going to have a good life, and they know they're not going to get adopted out and get tossed in minimum a couple months, but average 2.5 years. They're not going to get tossed out in a couple more years. Look at that beautiful face. Where'd you get those eyes? Wow. His brother down there has these very light eyes, and you guys are magnificent. Magnificent. Yeah. Anyway, so this is, you know, from up here, this is a nice view. I'm just above the fence. And what a beautiful picture of our mountain. You know, the mountain I'm looking at over there, I just remembered, it's overlooking our pond. And Buck the dog from Married with Children and Frida, his friend Frida, are buried up there. They're the only dogs buried on the property. Everybody's cremated. And they're overlooking the pond because Buck was a good friend of ours. We did the Hollywood Christmas parade years ago. Oh, I got to tell you about that. Buck the dog was on one, and his voice was recorded by the producer of the show. So he recorded a message for people all over the world to go to the pound and get dogs out for Christmas, you know. So he recorded this 45-second message. And Bob Eubanks and Lisa Gibbons were there. And they couldn't say a word because it was recorded. And they couldn't say anything. And they got done, and the float passed by. And Lisa says to Bob, this is the first time I couldn't say anything. I haven't been able to say a word in this whole thing. And they laughed about it. Because what happens is we had Julie Newmar, you know, Catwoman. We had her on the thing, on the float. And all they did was talk about Julie Newmar. Oh, yeah, the Delta Rescue Float. And Julie, and they talked, you know. We had, what's her name, Geary. There was that show in Alaska. Oh, what's the name of that show? There was a show 3 years. They had a show in Alaska about a doctor who went to Alaska and all that. Geary, Cynthia Geary? Her story at the time was that she was a real waitress and they discovered her. No, she was an actress and she played a waitress. Turns out all these years later, she's really an actress. She wasn't a waitress. But she was on our float, and they talk all about her and her background, and never mind the float. The only time anybody talked about us was Dee Wallace and Chris Stone, her first husband. He passed away. They were friends, and Chris was really great. He set the whole thing up, and they talked about Delta Rescue and what we did in Rescue in the Wilderness. He did that whole thing. He was the only one that ever did that. We had a Miss Universe on. She was on our float one year, and just as our luck, we got Miss Universe. So they talk about Miss Universe. And then our luck was 3 months later, they dethroned her because she was part of a drug cartel out of Colombia. That's our luck. That's the thing. Who else do we have? I forget. I met Mayor Reardon. We spent in the green room, we spent about a half hour talking about the animal situation in LA. He was a great guy, smart guy. Met some other people. I met, I don't know if you remember Lee Horsley. There was a show he had. What was the name of it? He had a detective show. He lives out here somewhere. Yeah, and Linda, remember Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman? Well, she did this, Linda did this show with Lee as a pioneer show. No, a Revolutionary War. It was a Revolutionary War show. And it was something about, she was, they were getting costume in the show, and he had a muzzle loader and all that. What the heck was the name of that? Anyway, I met them. We had a nice talk. Kathy Ireland, remember Kathy Ireland was a big model back then, and she's a billionaire now with a furniture company. Kathy Ireland's furniture is like huge. So you meet all these people in the green room while you're waiting for your float, the float to go out. Johnny Grant, he used to be the unofficial mayor of Hollywood. Johnny Grant got us in the parade. You have to pass muster with Johnny, and he got us into the parade. And he was, every time they did a star on the sidewalk there in Hollywood, he was the guy officiating. He was the unofficial mayor of Hollywood. The reason unofficial is LA has a mayor, and Hollywood's part of LA, but Hollywood itself, that was Johnny Grant. Who's that? That's Kara and Lou playing. Now Kara's playing with Lou. Lou's deaf. So she could pretend growl at him all she wants. He doesn't hear her. He just, Who's this? Who's this boy? You want another treat? You want another treat? Look at them having fun. No, those are two dogs having fun. Yes, you're a good boy. You're the good boy. Yes, you're the good. What a nice doggy. What a nice boy. You kissing and everything. And we get people that say they see a beautiful dog like this. Why don't you adopt them out? Well, I tell you why, folks. Because in America, people only keep their pets 2.5 years. That means he'd be back out again, or if he was lucky. He'd end up in the pound and euthanized because they kill most of them. Even these no-kill places, there's no such thing. They adopt unless they're unadoptable. Well, what's unadoptable? That's a whole other story. So if they call them unadoptable, they euthanize them, meaning they kill them. That's a nice word, euthanize. Put them to sleep. No, you kill them. So this boy is going to be here till he's old and gray and stiff and arthritic. And we're going to take care of him, give him medicine. And then eventually we'll move him to a nice smaller yard because he won't be able to run so much. Meanwhile, he's going to have another good 8 or 10 years nice and prime like him. He's a prime boy. He's a prime boy. Okay. Now this is pure chicken, so I can give them as much as they want. It's pure chicken. Yes. Okie doke. I'm gonna go see your buddies. I'm gonna go see your brothers. I wanna show everybody your brother's eyes. This one of his brothers has really golden eyes. Yes, you're beautiful. I'll give you some more on the way out. Okay. See, the way we build these straw bale dog houses, there's 25 bales of straw, and Ray Poe designed them. The late Ray Poe. He was terrific. And when you see go online on the Delta Rescue website, and look up Strawbell Doghouse. You'll get the whole video how to build them. You turn the straw that way, you turn the straw that way, you turn the straw that way. So that's how we made the steps. And the dogs said run up and down, and they've got steps. Some dogs, until they get older, they jump off the top of this thing. You're crazy. We've had a couple, when they got older, break their legs. They kept jumping all their life, and then one day they jumped, and they didn't know they were older. They had brittle bones. You watching? Oh, he's watching. He's watching. He's watching. Not going to let me down. Oh, my butt's frozen. That's cold. There you go. Yes. You're a good boy. You are a good boy. Nice. 20 degrees warmer inside. 20 degrees warmer, and then they go in, they lay down, they breathe, and it gets a little warmer because they put their body heat in there. Stays inside. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. There's one of the brothers. One of the brothers. Peter, Piper, and Peck. Look at the eyes on these guys. There's something about his eyes match his coat. I mean, it just amazes me. You can tell he's Peter's brother. You can tell he's Peter's brother. Are you Piper or Peck? Are you Piper or Peck? I have to look it up. I forget. You're just like your brother. You want another one. All right.